Imagine checking into a luxury hotel, only to discover your room is nearly 300 feet below the ground. Outside your window, towering cliffs surround you. Above you, a waterfall crashes into a deep lake. Feels impossible, yet this place is completely real. Somehow, it isn't even China's most unbelievable engineering project. Because over the last 20 years, China has built structures that many experts once believed could never exist. A bridge that disappears beneath the ocean. A railway that climbs higher than commercial airplanes usually fly. A city where subway trains pass straight through apartment buildings. None of these are computer graphics. None of them belong in science fiction. They're real. And by the end of this video, one of these projects may completely change the way you think about modern engineering. Let's begin. InterContinental Shanghai Wonderland. Most hotels compete to build higher. InterContinental Shanghai Wonderland did the exact opposite. It was built inside a giant abandoned quarry. More than 80% of the hotel sits below ground level. Some luxury suites are even underwater. Guests wake up surrounded by cliffs, while fish swim just outside their bedroom windows. First, the idea sounded ridiculous. Building inside a massive hole created by decades of mining seemed far too dangerous. The rock walls were unstable. Rainwater constantly flowed into the quarry. There was almost no flat land for construction equipment. Instead of abandoning the project, engineers completely changed the rules. The cliffs became the hotel's walls. The lake became part of the design. Advanced drainage systems protect the building during heavy storms, while geothermal technology helps reduce energy use throughout the year. Today, what was once an abandoned industrial site has become one of the world's most extraordinary hotels. Proves something surprising. Sometimes, the greatest engineering isn't creating something new. It's transforming something everyone else had given up on. But if building downward seems unbelievable, wait until you see what China built across one of Asia's busiest seas. Hong Kong Zhuhai Macau Bridge. Imagine driving across the ocean, and suddenly, the bridge disappears. Without slowing down, your car enters an underwater tunnel. A few minutes later, you're back above the sea again. That's exactly what happens on the Hong Kong Zhuhai Macau Bridge, stretching more than 55 kilometers. It's one of the most ambitious transport projects ever completed. Originally, engineers wanted one continuous bridge. There was just one problem. Thousands of giant cargo ships pass through these waters every year. A normal bridge would have blocked one of the busiest shipping routes in the world. So they created something entirely different. 2 artificial islands were built in the middle of the sea. Between them, engineers constructed a massive underwater tunnel. Ships continue sailing overhead, while cars travel safely beneath them. The bridge was also designed to survive powerful typhoons, major earthquakes, and decades of saltwater corrosion. Today, a journey that once took several hours can be completed in less than one. Millions cross it every year. Without realizing they're driving through one of the most complicated engineering systems ever created. Somehow, this still isn't China's strangest city, because our next destination looks like someone built it inside a science fiction movie. Chongqing. The first time people see Chongqing, they think the videos are fake. Highways twist above other highways. Skyscrapers rise from mountains, and a subway train passes directly through an apartment building. No, the building wasn't built by mistake. It was designed that way. Unlike most cities, Chongqing sits on steep mountains surrounded by rivers. Flattening the landscape would have cost a fortune. Engineers built with the mountains, not against them. Roads were stacked on multiple levels. Bridges connected neighborhoods separated by deep valleys. Tunnels cut through solid rock. The city's most famous landmark is Liziba Station. Every few minutes, a metro train quietly glides through the middle of a residential building. Special vibration control technology keeps the apartments surprisingly quiet. For the people living there, it's completely normal. For everyone else, feels impossible. But if building a city across mountains is impressive, our next project had to solve an even bigger problem. How do you build a railway where the air itself is too thin to breathe? Qinghai, Tibet Railway. Imagine looking out of a train window, only to realize you're traveling more than 16,000 feet above sea level. The mountains seem endless. The sky feels unbelievably close. Inside the train, extra oxygen quietly flows through the cabin. Without it, many passengers would struggle to breathe. This is the Qinghai, Tibet Railway, the highest railway on Earth. For decades, experts believed it couldn't be built, not because of the mountains, but because of what lay beneath them. Much of the railway crosses permafrost, ground that stays frozen all year. If the soil warms, becomes unstable, the tracks could slowly sink. Instead of giving up, engineers invented new solutions. Hundreds of bridges lift sections of the railway above the frozen ground, allowing cold air to circulate underneath. In other areas, special stone layers naturally remove heat, keeping the soil frozen even during summer. The Qinghai, Tibet Railway safely carries millions of passengers across one of the harshest environments on Earth. It connected places that once felt almost unreachable. But while this railway conquered the mountains, our next wonder seems to challenge something even more frightening: your own brain. Zhuhai Glass Bridge. The hardest part is taking the first step. You know it's safe. You know thousands of people cross it every day. But when you look down, your feet freeze. 'Cause beneath you, there's nothing, only glass. Hundreds of feet above a deep canyon. This is the Zhuhai Glass Bridge, one of the world's most famous glass bridges. Every glass panel is made from multiple layers of reinforced tempered glass. Even if one layer cracked, the others would continue supporting the weight. Before opening, engineers even drove heavy vehicles across the bridge, just to prove its strength. Most visitors don't trust their eyes. Some walk confidently, others crawl. Many stop halfway, unable to convince themselves the bridge is actually safe. It's one of the few engineering projects where the biggest obstacle isn't physics, it's human psychology. And if this bridge plays tricks on your mind, our next wonder completely changes the way people travel. Beijing Daxing International Airport. From above, it looks like a giant starfish. Not an airport. This is Beijing Daxing International Airport, one of the most advanced airports ever built. Its unusual shape isn't just beautiful, it's practical. Instead of forcing passengers to walk endless distances, every terminal connects to one central hub. That means shorter walks, faster transfers, and smoother travel. Massive skylights flood the building with natural sunlight, reducing energy use during the day. Behind the scenes, automated systems manage luggage, security, and passenger flow almost continuously. When fully operational, Beijing Daxing International Airport can serve around 100 million passengers every year. It's less like a traditional airport, and more like a smart city under one roof. But while this airport connects people across the world, our next project listens to something much farther away. Something that has traveled across space for billions of years. Fast radio telescope. Hidden deep inside the mountains, there's a giant silver dish so enormous, can hear signals from the edge of the universe. This is FAST, the 500-meter aperture spherical telescope, the largest single-dish radio telescope on Earth. Unlike ordinary telescopes, FAST doesn't look at space. It listens. Every second, tiny radio waves pass through the universe. Most are so weak, they disappear into background noise. Fast was built to catch them. Its enormous dish stretches nearly 500 meters across, larger than 30 football fields. More than 4,000 movable panels constantly change shape, allowing the telescope to focus on different parts of the sky. Scientists use FAST to study pulsars, distant galaxies, and mysterious signals that have traveled for billions of years. Some researchers even hope could one day detect evidence of life beyond Earth. But while FAST listens to the universe, our next wonder controls one of the most powerful rivers on Earth. Three Gorges Dam. For centuries, the Yangtze River gave life to China, but it also brought destruction. Every flood destroyed homes, farmland, and entire communities. China needed more than a dam. Needed a solution. That solution became the Three Gorges Dam, the largest hydroelectric dam on Earth. Stretching over 2.3 kilometers across the Yangtze River, it holds back an enormous reservoir, while producing electricity for millions of homes. But perhaps its most incredible feature isn't the dam itself. It's the Three Gorges ship lift. Instead of waiting inside a series of locks, entire ships enter a giant water-filled chamber. The whole chamber slowly rises like an elevator. A vessel weighing thousands of tons is lifted almost effortlessly. The Three Gorges Dam not only generates clean energy, it also helps control floods, improves river transportation, and supports one of China's busiest waterways. But our next project proves engineering doesn't always mean building bigger. Sometimes it means making nature part of the design. 1,000 trees. At first glance, it doesn't even look like a building. It looks like a mountain, covered with trees. But every tree is growing on a skyscraper. This is 1,000 trees in Shanghai. Instead of covering the building with glass, architects covered it with nature. Hundreds of large trees and thousands of plants grow from giant concrete columns across the entire structure. Every season changes its appearance. Fresh green in spring, dense forest in summer, golden leaves in autumn. Keeping so many trees alive high above the ground isn't easy. Each planter has its own irrigation system. Hidden sensors monitor water levels, making sure every tree stays healthy throughout the year. 1,000 trees has become one of Shanghai's most recognizable landmarks. It shows that modern architecture doesn't have to fight nature. Sometimes can grow with it. But if you think these projects are impressive, our final wonder combines engineering, architecture, and luxury in a way almost nobody expected. There's a reason these projects keep going viral. It isn't because they're the biggest or the most expensive. It's because they make people ask one simple question. How did they even build that? China's greatest engineering wonders don't just solve problems. They completely change the way people think about what's possible. And perhaps no project proves that better than the one that started our journey. InterContinental Shanghai Wonderland. Most architects search for the perfect piece of land. The team behind InterContinental Shanghai Wonderland chose an abandoned quarry, nearly 90 meters deep, surrounded by cliffs, filled with water, a place most people thought could never be used again. Instead of covering the quarry, they built inside it. Only 2 floors rise above the ground. Everything else descends into the cliff. Some luxury suites even sit beneath the lake, where guests can watch fish swim past their bedroom windows. Building downward created problems no ordinary hotel faces. Heavy rain, rock stability, water pressure, limited construction space. Engineers reinforced the quarry walls with thousands of rock anchors. Advanced drainage systems protect the structure during storms. Natural geothermal energy helps regulate indoor temperatures. reducing energy consumption throughout the year. InterContinental Shanghai Wonderland is considered one of the most extraordinary hotels ever built. Not because it's the tallest, but because it transformed an abandoned industrial site into one of the world's most famous luxury destinations. It reminds us that great engineering isn't always about building something bigger. Sometimes, it's about seeing opportunity where everyone else sees failure. A hotel built inside a cliff. A bridge that disappears beneath the sea. A railway crossing the roof of the world. A city climbing mountains. A telescope listening to galaxies billions of light years away. A dam powerful enough to control one of Asia's greatest rivers. And a skyscraper covered with hundreds of living trees. Each project looks impossible, yet every one of them exists. Together, they tell a bigger story. A story of imagination, persistence, and engineering that refuses to accept limits. Because the world's greatest wonders don't begin with perfect conditions. They begin with someone asking, "What if we try anyway?" Oh, which Chinese engineering wonder surprised you the most? Was it InterContinental Shanghai Wonderland? The Hong Kong Zhuhai, Macau Bridge? Or maybe the incredible Qinghai, Tibet Railway? Tell us in the comments below. And if you enjoy discovering the world's most unbelievable engineering and mega projects, subscribe for more documentaries, because the next impossible project may already be under construction.